Rafa Nadal's words to Carlos Alcaraz after conquering the Australian Open. The Mercian tennis player exchanged positive impressions and displays of affection with the man from the Balearic Islands as they analyzed the match from a tactical battle perspective. "Thank you from the bottom of my heart." That was the phrase Carlos Alcaraz chose to sum up a triumph that goes far beyond a title. The Mercian conquered the 2026 Australian Open, completed the career Grand Slam at just 22 years of age, and became the youngest player of the Open era to achieve it, but he wanted the spotlight not to be solely on the sporting feat, but on all the people who have accompanied him on his journey to the top. After defeating Novak Djokovic in the final, 2-6, 6-2, 6-3 and 7-5, Alcaraz appeared with the serenity of someone who knows he has written a historic page, but also with the contained emotion of someone who is aware of the path traveled. "Thank you from the bottom of my heart to all the people who have been there, both those who came here and those who followed from home, even waking up at impossible hours," declared the world number one, visibly moved after lifting the trophy at Rod Laver Arena. The gratitude was not a throwaway line. Throughout the tournament, Alcaraz insisted on the collective effort behind every success. From his coaching staff to his family, including the fans who accompany him tournament after tournament, the Spaniard wanted to emphasize that the title is the result of constant and silent work. Australia once again tested his physical and mental endurance, especially in marathon matches such as the semi-final, and the Mercian acknowledged that feeling supported was key to not giving up in the toughest moments. That support also had a proper name: Rafael Nadal. The presence of the Balearic player in the stands gave special meaning to the victory and reinforced the emotional component of the triumph. A clear symbol of the generational handover in Spanish tennis, and someone he thanked for the conversation they had after the victory. "Rafa congratulated me and we talked a little about the match. About how well Novak started, how difficult it was. I told him that tactically I started in a way that didn't work. I was playing too straight, and he told me that he saw it the same way. A title for the ages." In this way, Carlos Alcaraz has conquered the Australian Open, the first Grand Slam of the season, after defeating Serbia's Novak Djokovic this Sunday in the final, 2-6, 6-2, 6-3, 7-5, denying him his 25th major. This title is the Mercian's first in Melbourne and allows him to complete the career Grand Slam, that is, having won at least once each of the four majors of the season: Australia, Roland Garros, Wimbledon, and the US Open. At 22 years and 272 days old, Alcaraz has lifted his seventh Grand Slam title and reached an Olympus previously accessible only to legends such as Fred Perry, Donald Budge, Roy Emerson, Rod Laver, Andre Agassi, Roger Federer, Rafa Nadal, and Djokovic himself, the only players so far capable of winning all four majors on the circuit. In addition, Alcaraz becomes the youngest player of the Open era to achieve it, surpassing his compatriot Nadal, who did so at 24 years and 102 days at the 2010 US Open. The 2026 Australian Open joins his two Roland Garros titles, 2024 and 2025, his two Wimbledon titles, 2023 and 2024, and his two US Open titles, 2022 and 2025. Unexpected change for Alcaraz after his victory in Australia. Carlos Alcaraz withdraws from Rotterdam after winning in Australia. Carlos Alcaraz will not be in Rotterdam. After his historic triumph at the Australian Open after defeating Novak Djokovic, the Spaniard has confirmed his withdrawal from the tournament in the Netherlands next week and will not defend the title he won last year. A decision taken as a result of the intense effort in Melbourne, choosing to take a few days of rest with Doha in mind. Carlos Alcaraz will not defend his title in Rotterdam. The Australian Open champion concluded that, after the effort of the past 2 weeks, he needs more time before returning to competition. "We wish Carlos a speedy recovery," explained the tournament organizers, who will not count on the most influential tennis player of today due to several days in which he has suffered physical issues, dizziness, cramps, and even vomiting. As a result, the player from Murcia will not have to return to Europe to play in Rotterdam, a tournament that will also be held on indoor hard courts from February 9 to 15. Despite losing 500 ATP ranking points, Alcaraz will remain world number one thanks to the cushion he has over Jannik Sinner, specifically 3,350 points, 13,650 compared to 10,300. Carlos Alcaraz's path after withdrawing from Rotterdam. With this decision, Carlos Alcaraz will not return to competition until Doha, from February 16 to 21, and will then take on the first American swing of the season with his participation in the Masters 1000 events in Indian Wells, from March 4 to 15, and Miami, from March 18 to 29. In the coming weeks, he will return in April to the clay court season with tournaments in Monte Carlo, Barcelona, Madrid, and Rome. After that comes the second Grand Slam of the year, Roland Garros, from May 24 to June 7, where he will defend the title he won in 2024 and 2025. With Rotterdam, Carlos Alcaraz has preferred to use it as a rest period and arrive in good condition for the upcoming events in order to continue defending the top spot, which he already holds with authority over the Italian. Carlos Alcaraz has once again made history by being crowned champion of the 2026 Australian Open, adding a new Grand Slam to his impressive resume. The tennis player from Murcia earned a prize of €4,150,000 Australian dollars, equivalent to €2,440,124. Although the prize money announced in Australia is significant, what the player actually takes home is different. Let us remember that Carlos Alcaraz has his tax residence in Spain, which means he is obliged to declare income obtained both domestically and abroad under the Personal Income Tax, IRPF. With this data, from the gross prize of €2.44 million, the estimated tax withholding would be around €1.1 million. This amount corresponds to the portion allocated to paying taxes in Spain on income earned outside the country. After deducting this withholding, the approximate net profit that Carlos Alcaraz would receive would be about €1.34 million. These figures illustrate how, even in the world of the highest paid sports, the tax impact is an important component to consider, especially when an athlete reaches the level of the great Grand Slam champions. After an intense battle in the final of the 2026 Australian Open, Novak Djokovic could not hide his disappointment. With a calm face but an evidently heavy heart, the Serbian confessed that this defeat has a particularly bitter taste. It was not just another final. It was his return to a Grand Slam final after 3 years, and at 36 years old, he knew that this opportunity might not come again. "I was sharp, focused, and started in a phenomenal way," he said, acknowledging that destiny gave him a chance. And this time it slipped away. The match, however, took an unexpected turn. Djokovic explained it without excuses, but with brutal honesty. Things changed, the energy faded, and control slipped through his fingers like water. Even so, he did not hesitate to congratulate Carlos Alcaraz for what he described as an extraordinary historic achievement. He accepted the will of a God who, in his words, always knows what he is doing. Although he finds it difficult to fully open up, he assured that he is grateful for everything he is beyond tennis. Trying to understand what happened from the second set onward, Novak offered a technical but also emotional analysis. He admitted that his serve lost consistency, that errors began to creep in, and that pressure affected him. He also revealed that there were health-related factors that influenced his performance and that this sudden drop in energy frustrated him more than the result itself. What hurt him most was not being able to sustain the intensity he had shown at the beginning. And that first set, according to him, was among the best he has played in recent years. Everything was perfect, he was dominating, flowing, feeling the ball. But suddenly, as if an invisible shadow had fallen over his game, everything changed. "I simply couldn't anymore. I wasn't myself," he confessed. Despite everything, he is proud of the fight, the effort, of having given everything against the world number one. Regarding Alcaraz, Djokovic spared no praise. He said that facing him is both a pleasure and a challenge. He compared him to the best rivals he has had in his career and highlighted his ability to force you to bring out your best version. "For a set and a half, I did," he recalled, "but then everything changed and he deserved to win." Words that, coming from Novak, weigh like a medal. Reflecting on the entire tournament, Novak also wanted to highlight the positives. He recalled his 5-set victory over Jannik Sinner and how close he came to beating Alcaraz. He is disappointed, yes, but also satisfied with having gone so far. "I always believe that I can," he said, making it clear that the flame of ambition is still alive within him. What bothered him most was not having taken advantage of the opportunity he had in the 4th set. With the crowd fully behind him, he had a crucial break point at 4-4, but a missed forehand changed the course of the match. "1 or 2 shots can completely change the dynamics of a match," he lamented. And although he knows that thinking about the what-ifs is not very useful, he could not help but let those thoughts linger after the match. Even so, he was not surprised by the dominant start he had. He knew Alcaraz well, his tactical intelligence and his ability to adapt. He knew that Carlos was going to change things and raise his level, and although he also tried, his body did not respond the same way. He recovered energy in the 4th set, fought, came close. But it was not enough. "It was not meant to be that I would be champion this time." Djokovic also wanted to be fair about the path he had at this Australian Open. He thanked the conditions that allowed him to reach the final fresher, such as not having to play the 4th round. And although it is difficult for him to smile after a defeat like this, he acknowledged that it was a fantastic tournament. "I took a step forward compared to last year's Grand Slams," he said. But he immediately added that this step is still not enough for him. His desire to reach a 25th Grand Slam title remains intact. He says he has the belief, the confidence, and the vision to achieve it. He has lowered his expectations in recent years, and that has helped him deal with the pressure. Interestingly, he now finds it motivating not to always be the favorite. Beating Sinner, the defending champion, in 5 sets was a great personal victory. But you're asking me this 10 minutes after losing a final, he said frankly, so of course I'm bitter. What he wants most now is to return home. To be surrounded by his loved ones, to embrace his family. He knows how to handle these emotions. He has played many finals, won many, lost others, and he knows the mental process that follows each battle. But nothing soothes quite like the warmth of home. Finally, he had very special words for Carlos Alcaraz. He described him as a legend of tennis, someone who has already left an indelible mark at just 22 years of age. He highlighted his character, his values, his family, and above all, his champion's mentality. Alcaraz does not settle, he is always looking to innovate and improve. He has the complete package, Novak concluded, humbly acknowledging that this time, his best version was not enough against the Spanish phenomenon.